Dear listeners, recently we celebrated the National Youth Day, which coincides with the birthday of legendary Saint Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda was a Hindu monk, philosopher, author, and a religious teacher. He was instrumental in the introduction of Vedanta and yoga to the Western world and bringing Hinduism to the status of a major world religion. He was also a major force in contemporary Hindu reform movements. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential persons of modern India and a patriotic saint. He was born on 12th January 1863 in Kolkata as Narendranath. His birthday in India is celebrated as National Youth Day. He belonged to a traditional family and was one of 9 siblings. His father, Vishwanath Datta, was an attorney at the Kolkata High Court, and his mother, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, was a housewife. The progressive, rational attitude of Narendra's father and the religious temperament of his mother helped shape his thinking and personality. Narendranath was interested in spirituality from a young age and used to meditate before the images of deities. He was fascinated by wandering monks. Narendra was mischievous and restless as a child, and his parents often had difficulty controlling him. His mother even used to say that she prayed to Shiva for a son, but he has sent her one of his demons. As he grew up, he showed great interest and gained considerable skill in various kinds of physical exercise like gymnastics, wrestling, boxing, sword play, and swimming. In 1871, at the age of 8, Narendra got enrolled at Vidyasagar's Metropolitan School until his family moved to Chhattisgarh in 1877. In 1879, after his family's return to Kolkata, he excelled in the Presidency College entrance examination. He was an avid reader in a wide range of subjects including philosophy, religion, history, social science, art and literature. He was also interested in various Hindu scriptures. He was trained in Indian classical music and regularly participated in physical sports and related activities. He studies European history at the Scottish Church College. It was here that he was exposed to Western philosophy, Christianity and science. Social reform became a prominent element of his thought, so he joined Brahmo Samaj. In 1881, he passed the Fine Arts examination and completed a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1884. While studying Western philosophers, he also learned Sanskrit scriptures and Bengali literature. Narendranath, as a Hindu spiritual leader and reformer, attempted to combine Indian spirituality with Western material progress. He always stressed for the universal and humanistic side of the Vedas. Very few people are aware that he had a brief stint as a cricketer too. It was sometimes in the mid-1880s, a match was hosted between Calcutta Cricket Club and Town Club Eden Gardens. Narendranath took 7 wickets representing Town Club. He did not pursue cricket but went on to become a global figure. He also played football and encouraged friends to exercise. In late 1881, Narendra went to Dakshineshwar on the advice of Professor William of Scottish College and met Ramakrishna. This meeting proved to be a turning point in his life. Although he did not initially accept Ramakrishna as his teacher and rebelled against his ideas, he was attracted by his personality and began to frequently visit him at Dakshineshwar. As a member of Brahmo Samaj, he opposed idol worship, polytheism and Ramakrishna's worship of Kali. The teachings of Ramakrishna had so much effect on Narendra that he soon decided to renounce everything for the sake of realizing God and accepting Ramakrishna as his guru. He later became the most notable disciple of Ramakrishna. In 1888, Narendra left the monastery as a wandering monk. His sole possessions were a kamandal, staff and his 2 favorite books, the Bhagavad Gita and the Imitation of Christ. Narendra traveled extensively in India for 5 years, on foot from the Himalayas in the north to Kanyakumari in the south, and from Puri in the east to Dwarka in the west. He kept on visiting centers of learning and acquainting himself with diverse religious traditions and social patterns. He developed sympathy for the suffering and poverty of the people and resolved to uplift the nation. Living primarily on bhiksha, Narendra traveled on foot and by railway. During his travels, he met and stayed with Indians from all religions and walks of life. He made friends with all. He accepted praises and also a scolding from many. A unique friendship developed between the ruler of the Shekhawat dynasty of the princely state of Khetri, Maharaja Ajit Singh, and Narendra Datta. Ajit Singh became his disciple, and it was at his suggestion that Narendra agreed to change his name to Swami Vivekananda and to don the saffron attire and turban. He provided financial help so that his friend Narendra could attend and participate in the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago in 1893. The Parliament of the World's Religions opened on 11 September 1893 at the Art Institute of Chicago. The Congress was an initiative to gather all the religions of the world and the Theosophical Society being invited as representative of Hinduism. On this day, Vivekananda gave a brief speech representing India and Hinduism. He began his speech with Sisters and Brothers of America. At these words, Vivekananda received a standing ovation from the audience. When silence was restored, he began his address on behalf of a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. Vivekananda attracted widespread attention in the American press, in which his speech and manner of speech was applauded. He spoke several times at receptions, the scientific section, and private homes on topics related to harmony among religions until the parliament ended on 27 September 1893. His speeches at the parliament had the common theme of universality, emphasizing religious tolerance. He soon became known as a handsome Oriental and made a huge impression as an orator. After great success at the parliament, in the subsequent years, Vivekananda delivered hundreds of lectures across the United States and Europe in nearly 2 years. By spring 1895, his busy, tiring schedule had affected his health. He ended his lecture tours and began giving free and private classes in Vedanta and Yoga. He was offered academic positions in 2 American universities, but he declined both since his duties would conflict with his commitment as a monk. Margaret Noble met Vivekananda when he visited England in 1895, and she was attracted to the universal principles of Vedanta and to Vivekananda's humanistic teachings. Accepting him as her guru, she worked for the Vedanta movement in England until she went to India in 1898. Her great level of devotion compelled Vivekananda to give her the name Sister Nivedita. She went to India primarily to help Vivekananda realize his plans to educate women. He was inclined towards religion and spirituality from a young age. After the death of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda took extensive tour of the nation, acquiring first-hand knowledge of the living conditions of Indian people in the then British India. Vivekananda adapted traditional Hindu ideas to suit the needs and understandings of his Western audiences. He adopted Patanjali's Yoga Sutras to form his own 4 yogas model. Arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached is a slogan popularized in the late 19th century by Swami Vivekananda. It was his message to the world to get out of their hypnotized state of mind. Vivekananda received a warm welcome upon his arrival back by ship on 15 January 1897. From there on, his journey to Kolkata was triumphant. He travelled from place to place delivering lectures. Common people and Rajas gave him an enthusiastic reception. It is said that during his train travels, people often sat on the tracks to force the train to stop so they could hear him. He continued his journey to Kolkata. In India, he repeatedly addressed social issues like uplifting the people, eliminating the caste system, promoting science and industrialization, addressing widespread poverty and ending colonial rule. In 1897, Vivekananda founded the Ramakrishna Mission at the monastery of Belur Mutt in Kolkata. His ideas were self-perfection and service. Vivekananda founded the Ramakrishna Mission for Social Service. Its ideals are based on Karma Yoga, and its governing body consists of the trustees of the Ramakrishna Mutt. After brief visits to Lahore, Delhi and Khetri, Vivekananda returned to Kolkata in January 1898. He consolidated the work of the Mutt and trained disciples for several months. Swamiji also composed a prayer song dedicated to Ramakrishna in 1898. Despite reclining health, Vivekananda left for the West for a second time in June 1899, accompanied by Sister Nivedita and Swami Turiyananda. Following a brief stay in England, he went to the United States. During this visit, Vivekananda established Vedanta societies in San Francisco and New York. He then went to Paris for the Congress of Religions in 1900 and visited several other places. He returned to Kolkata the same year. He was unable to attend the Congress of Religions in 1901 in Japan due to deteriorating health. His declining health restricted his activity, and on 4th July 1902, Vivekananda succumbed to his failing health. On the fateful day, he woke up early, went to the monastery at Belur Mutt and meditated for 3 years. He taught Veda, Sanskrit grammar, and the philosophy of yoga to pupils. Later, Swamiji went to his room, asking not to be disturbed, and died few hours later while meditating. Vivekananda linked morality with control of the mind, seeing truth, purity, and unselfishness as traits which strengthened it. Nationalism was a prominent theme in his thought. He believed that a country's future depends on its people, and his teachings focused on human development. Vivekananda was one of the most influential philosophers and social reformers in contemporary India, and the most successful and influential missionaries of Vedanta to the Western world. He had great influence upon people like Mahatma Gandhi, Sri Aurobindo, and Rabindranath Tagore. Revolutionary Subhash Chandra Bose also regarded Vivekananda as his spiritual teacher. In the background of emerging nationalism in British-ruled India, Swami's intrepid patriotism gave a new color to the national movement throughout India. More than any other single individual of that period, he made his contribution to the new awakening of India. Vivekananda drew attention to the extent of poverty in the country and maintained that addressing such poverty was a prerequisite for national awakening. It was in 1890 that Swami Vivekananda and Swami Akhandananda, a fellow disciple of Guru Sri Ramakrishna, took their historic journey across the region of Uttarakhand in search of enlightenment. Uttarakhand is imprinted with his influence and teachings. Devotees from all over the world come in search of his wisdom and take on the trail that inspired the Swami so much. The second visit of Swami Vivekananda was in 1897. Swami Vivekananda also delivered a lecture on the subject Vedic teachings in theory and practice in Hindi and impressed everyone with his oratorical skill. These days, the Uttarakhand government has taken an initiative to connect all the important places associated with Swamiji and form a tourist circuit named Vivekananda Trail for promotion of tourism. Swami Vivekananda left his footprints in Dehradun also when he came here for the treatment of his brother monk Swami Akhandananda in 1890. They met Swami Turyananda at Shiva Mandir, a little away from Rajpur Road, Dehradun, towards Mussoorie. He once again visited Dehradun in 1897. The ancient Bauri Shiva temple on the outskirts of Dehradun bears testimony to his historic visit. So, this was all about Swami Vivekananda, his life and his teachings. Our country will always be indebted to him for the contribution he made in the field of spirituality.